Hello guys and welcome back to another CH weather video. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming possibility of multiple severe weather, possibly outbreaks across the Midwest, East Coast, into the southern states including Mississippi and Alabama. So let's get straight into it. And one thing I have to say is I was on vacation, so that's why I have been unable to post any video earlier. In fact, I just got back today around 2 o'clock, and as of recording this, it's around 8 p.m. So I'll try to update you guys as soon as possible on any of these severe weather events that are coming up. But let's get straight into it. So looking at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook, you can see anywhere in the orange is considered a 3 out of 5 or enhanced risk of severe weather. A 3 out of 5 is a pretty strong risk of storms, and we've seen plenty of strong storms with an enhanced risk before. Anywhere in the yellow is a 2 out of 5 risk, or a slight risk as they say, and this is still a pretty strong risk of storms. We see plenty of strong storms in slight risk. And then out here in the green, this is a marginal, so a level 1 out of 5 risk. It's very much on the lower side, but you still have to be weather aware. In fact, the other day, I was in a marginal risk, this was like last week, and we got hit with a severe thunderstorm, which was really out of the blue. So anywhere really from the green to the orange should be weather aware. But what the colors are saying as you get darker colors is just you need to be extra weather aware, because this has the possibility to be pretty bad in any of these areas. So looking at the cities throughout this enhanced risk, you can see Cincinnati through Dayton, Indianapolis, the Indiana risk goes all the way up to around the southern side of Chicago, North Judson, Argos, Warsaw, Fort Wayne, looks like a pretty big city. This goes all the way west to Clinton, Bloomington, St. Louis, Illinois, and Missouri, down through Poplar Bluff, down to Little Rock. It goes all the way south and west to Texarkana, almost to Shreveport, Lake Providence, Huntsville, Alabama, Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Paducah, Kentucky, Louisville, Lexington, Kentucky. So this is actually a very large, this is a very large enhanced risk, and the slight risk is even larger. In fact, we can look at how many estimated people are in this risk. You can see right here it says 25 million people are in this enhanced risk, and that follows with 45 million people in the slight risk. So we have a lot of people under the gun here for possibility of severe weather. Now looking at the actual probabilistic threat, we can see that there's a significant severe threat. This basically means that there's a 10% chance or greater of significant severe thunderstorms. This includes severe winds, significant hail, and significant tornadoes as well. Anywhere in the red, this is a 30% risk of a storm happening within 25 miles of a given point. If I show you this, it'll go up to a 25-mile radius right here. This is a 25-mile radius, and basically what it is saying is that there's a 30% chance that a storm will happen anywhere in this area, and that's a significant severe storm. So this red risk, as you can see, that's a pretty high probabilistic of having severe storms. Then in the yellow, that's a 15% risk, and anywhere in the brown is less to be worried about. That's only a 5% risk. Anywhere in the red, and someplace in the yellow, you can see where the significant severe actually overlaps with the yellow. Definitely need to be very weather aware coming up. And this is only one of our days looking at severe weather. The next day following this is Monday, I believe. You can see a slight risk that goes all the way down from Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Louisiana, all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts. This includes major cities like New York, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, Atlanta, Birmingham, all the way down to parts of Florida, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville. And this is what comes after the severe weather outbreak, possibly in the East Coast, Midwest. So this is also something we really need to watch out for. Tomorrow is when we'll get some of the probabilistics. It'll be like what we see here with the red and the black. And then tomorrow, this threat will actually show us the separate tornado threats and all that. Moving on to Tuesday, there's not anything major expected across the entire United States. You can see there's no risk anywhere. But actually, very rare on Wednesday, a day 6, freaking 6, slight risk of severe weather is 6 days out is incredibly rare. And you can see this is practically almost the same places that are expecting the severe weather on Sunday as well, overnight. Places like Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Bloomington, Springfield, St. Louis, Clarksville, Nashville, Memphis, Huntsville, Alabama, Yazoo City, Mississippi, Little Rock, all the way over to close to Austin, and it includes Dallas actually. So this risk is very similar to our enhanced risk, but it extends a little more to the west. And this is definitely something to worry about as well. In fact, I was watching Ryan Hall's video, and he said he circled this area right here after looking at the jet stream and said a possibility of a tornado outbreak is what kind of the 500 millibar signs are looking at. Now, 6 days out is incredibly far out. So the confidence has to be really, really high that there's going to be anything happening here. And the slight risk means that they have very high confidence. What that doesn't mean is anybody trying to say this is going to be a tornado outbreak or anything, they could be completely off, completely wrong, because 6 days out is almost and practically impossible to figure out what the actual risks are going to be. So as we get closer, we'll start to refine and define what kind of risk this will be, but as of now, all we need to know is that there's a possibility of dangerous severe weather in this yellow area for Wednesday, that everybody in this yellow area needs to be on the lookout. In fact, I am in both the Sunday and Wednesday threat, the enhanced risk for Sunday and the slight risk for Wednesday. The following days, day 7 and day 8, there is nothing. But again, looking at the day 6 outlook, 58 million people are under the gun in this slight risk, 15%, which is a slight risk from day 1 to day 3. And in fact, the tornado outbreak that we had across the east and the south, these also did start out as these kind of risks day 6. Not to worry anybody, but there's the possibility of some bad storms happening. Now, if I move over to the surface-based CAPE, this is in joules per kilogram. This basically just states the amount of energy that is in the atmosphere for storms. And anywhere above around 1,500 joules per kilogram is plenty for the production of very strong storms. As you can see, as this moves through Sunday to Monday, plenty of strong CAPE include these areas in orange are approaching 2,500, anywhere in blue is approaching 1,500, and the grays are around 1,000. So you can see plenty of CAPE everywhere in that risk area to see strong storms. As we continue to go, you can see that CAPE extends to the east coast, and that's why we have the possibility of storms there. You see this CAPE extends all the way up into areas around New York. As we continue to go through Tuesday and eventually into Wednesday, I'm not sure if it goes this far, but I think it does. You can see that plume of CAPE that reaches up. This is our Wednesday risk, and then goes back down. So that's our risk for, this is the CAPE for Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. You can see there's plenty for storm initiation. Looking at the bulk shear, this basically says the wind direction changing in height anywhere where you see the brighter colors here has more wind shear, and that's not a good thing. So looking Monday, this is early Monday, you can see areas of high wind shear all along the slight risk area. This goes all the way up from Columbus down to Louisiana, which encompasses the same enhanced risk that the National Weather Service is seeing. As you go into the actual day Monday for the East Coast risk, you can see plenty of wind shear there as well for storms. And then going into Wednesday, you can see it absolutely blows up, and the wind shear here looks, as of now, very concerning for a possible tornado outbreak. But it's I cannot stress this enough, that it is way, way, way too far out to forecast anything about any kind of risk whatsoever. So if anybody looks at this and says, there's going to be a tornado outbreak on Wednesday, they could be absolute crap, because this is just way too far out to know for sure if anything's going to happen. Look at the next one. This is the supercell composite. This basically shows the simulated chances of a supercell occurring in a place. For the Sunday risk into Monday, you can see pretty high values. Nothing crazy, but pretty high values going from in the enhanced risk area, so there is a chance for supercells. In fact, looking at some of the models, it looks like supercells are pretty concerning. And then looking in Wednesday, you can see the risk in South Mississippi for supercells that extends all the way north. This model, in fact, I will zoom in regionally to the Ohio Valley where some of these storms are occurring, and this is Sunday. And just to show you the timing of these storms and how dangerous these could be, you can see this initiation is late Sunday night. In fact, scattered storms out in front that eventually blow up into these storms that we're worried about. This is Monday morning. You see the storms all along this line. Looks like you have some initiations of supercells in Indiana and Arkansas, and then maybe some embedded supercells going through Illinois. And when these first initiate, the only thing is there will be a cap. So any storm that does break through this cap is going to have a lot of room to itself, and that's why we are expecting a supercellular threat. Now, as this propagates to the east, you can see it more congeals into a linear mode, and that still has the chance to include strong embedded tornadoes, because some of these could be supercells embedded within the line, especially the more south you go. And we'll see what the tornado risk is as we go, but we can expect strong tornadoes. And this is as far out as the model goes, so anywhere east can expect a linear mode of storms with some possibility of tornadoes. Looking at the simulated, this is the, why am I forgetting this? Satellite. Looking at this, you can see Saturday into Sunday. This is Sunday night into the morning. You can see the initiation of storms near the Illinois-Missouri border and in Arkansas. You can see these really blow up early Monday morning as they cross into the Ohio Valley. In the south, you can see the satellite shows these storms really blowing up everywhere along this risk area. As that moves east into the east coast, you can see that threat is still there. And then going all the way to Wednesday, as far out as this goes, is right here. You can see some rain up here in Wisconsin, Michigan, all these places. And then anywhere over here, you can see this right here looks like a line of initiating storms. Looking at the dew point is very important for forecasting storms, because the dew point, what happens is you have warm air, and the more warm air you have, the better for storms. And then you have this cold air to the west. And when that cold air meets the warm air, since cold air sinks and warm air rises like a hot air balloon, the cold air forces the warm air up into the atmosphere, and that's what causes these storms to explode. So if you see warmer air out in front, that's a sign of severe storms. Looking out from Sunday into Monday morning, you can see very, very high dew points. I mean, this is reaching into the 60s and 70s all along this risk area, going up to the 60s even in Michigan. As that continues to go to the east, you can see the dew points are still really high. And then for that Wednesday threat, you can see again the dew points get raised all the way up into Michigan. It's bringing these really far up, both of these storm systems. One last thing to look at is just the Cape and wind crossover, and where you're looking at this, anywhere in these colors shows you where there is plenty of Cape for storms to initiate and sustain themselves, and the wind is the wind shear is capable of producing tornadoes and rotating storms. In fact, let's see. I need to rewind a little bit. This is Sunday. Here's the risk as it goes across the enhanced risk. You have from the Ohio Valley all the way down to the south. Now, you may be wondering, if you're like over here in Texas, you're like, well, the colors look really, really deep right here. I mean, why am I not in a big risk? Well, the thing is, you don't just need this. You need tons and tons of other ingredients, and even things that we don't understand yet. And sometimes in these places where the Cape and wind are really strong, maybe the dew points aren't as strong, and that significantly inhibits storms' abilities to rotate or do anything like that. So you need all of the ingredients to be get together. As we go to Wednesday, you can see that threat continues along the slight area. That's all that I have for you guys today. I was just looking into the weather models. Again, the most important thing to look at, because I could be looking at these models wrong, and I do not want to be, but that is a possibility. Really, we need to watch out for this day 3 risk on Sunday into Monday morning. I cannot talk about this as much as I can. Everybody in this enhanced risk needs to be very, very weather aware, especially because this is an overnight threat into the AMs in the morning. So a lot of these people are going to be asleep. A lot of kids are going to have school the next morning from spring break. So this could be very dangerous. So if you are in this area, make sure you have some way to get alerts on your phone, some way to maybe on your radio. You have a radio, emergency weather radio. Buy those off of Amazon. They're like what, $50, something like that, pretty cheap. Any way to get warnings. And then again, that day 4 East Coast risk. Anywhere in these areas need to watch out. And the Wednesday, day 6, very rare day 6 outlook for 58 million people. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. I will try and update you guys all every single day from now until all of these severe weather outbreaks, or I don't want to use the term outbreak as much because it's possibility it won't be an outbreak, but just saying for these severe weather events, I will try and update you guys every day. So make sure to like this video so more people can see it, because I want this word to be spread out so people can be weather aware, and subscribe if you want to keep getting updates. And if you don't want to subscribe, don't want to like, totally okay. If you have any criticism, or maybe I said something wrong, or you have something nice to say, leave that in the comments. I would love to see any criticism to tell me what I can do better. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.